worry about edition changes. So that, so there still needs to be, I would recommend that there still needs to be a deadline prior to the semester that works for the bookstore, that the instructor of record is gonna say, this is what I'm going, because I may still be using the same book, but I may change to the next edition, which should be a totally different adoption.
Could be, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
and the past bookstore automatically went to the new edition, even if you didn't want to.
and we at times would then override that if we had a reason that we didn't want.
Sometimes we wanted to delay adopting a new edition, like cost.
Well,
Right.
Yeah, they can be.
I am curious as to, in your different areas, how often they come up with new editions anymore? Because my textbooks, since they've gone to online or rentals, they haven't updated the editions, which is great. And so I want to say for at least 4 years, they used to update editions every 2 years. I haven't had a new edition of my textbooks for at least 4 years. So I'm just curious if that is happening in other areas.
Oftentimes, it happens in my case all the time, but oftentimes when materials go fully online as more of a subscription or a rental basis, they are updated behind the scenes, but it never issues a new ISBN. So it simply is continually updated behind the scene, but there's never an official move. That happens quite often in the materials. Keeping up with IT is virtually impossible.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is it possible to have your default set to nothing? Because I wrote all the materials for myself.
Yeah, I think that,
So there's nothing for them to find.
yeah, I think that'd be,
Yeah, so I would want it to be set to 0 because they're never gonna buy anything.
how many adjuncts do you have in your area?
0.
Okay.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
And Brian, you and
we
Brian.
have other chemistry
Mine
instructors,
was not adjunct though.
No,
but
but
for their
It's not
classes,
just
they
me.
could set whatever they wanted, but I'm saying for my sections, I could set it to be the default of 0.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that's
Yeah.
what I would want.
Yeah, I think that would be, I mean, you have everything already, so. But then we'll learn about this, is he online yet?
he continues to get incorrect password when he tries to log in.
Did you do bookstore?
To answer the question, for mine, they're about 4-year cycles, it seems like they're running.
Okay,
They do publish and change the ISBN about every 4 years.
One of my land manual, they keep changing everything every year or every, yeah. Michael, go ahead.
Since I adopted OpenStax books, there's been one actual edition change. The astronomy book went from astronomy to astronomy 2nd edition. But all they really did was archive the old astronomy book and redirect all the links to the new astronomy book, and that was the change. It had new pictures, so it wasn't really like the usual edition changes.
Is it the same ISBN number?
It is a new ISBN.
There's a new one?
They did change the ISBN, which I think was their motivation to call it something different, is that for whatever reason, it was deemed different enough to issue a new ISBN. It updated itself online, just finding when you went to the old links for the old one, it said, hey, there's a new edition, go here. We have to do that.
I know OpenStax changed a couple of editions when they switched, something, because Rice was doing them in-house and now they're going through another.
can you send him an invite from this?
How do I do that?
Just you go to participants, you can do an invite. And see if you can copy the link and email it.
Okay.
So this bookstore will also, if you're interested in this, and for anyone really, they can take your, the contents you have prepared for a class, you've developed for a class and copyright it, and help you with the copyright for that, if you're interested in that too. In math, for calculus was the one class that we used to have, required everyone to use the same one, it was Cengage. And it frustrated me because it was about an 18-month cycle that it would go through updates, and that 18-month cycle followed your 3 courses, Calc 1, 2, and 3. And then you have to get a new edition. And I used to resist that a lot with eFollett. I'm like, no, I want to stick with what it was. I think it was like 9. I stick with 9. Like, well, we're on 11 now, so you got to go to 11. But I feel your pain. But I do. I use the OER, but I also use Lumen a lot of my material, which is it's the OER stuff, but with support.
Okay.
Any luck yet?
Yeah, I think he's here.
Okay.
Rob, are you here?
I'm here. Finally, I'm here. Sorry for the
Sorry
delay,
about
everybody.
we
Had
were
to go
taking
through
care
a
of
weird
some.
way to get in today.
We were taking some care of some internal housekeeping, so it was all good.
All right, fantastic.
Yeah.
Everyone, this is Rob from Ambassador.
Hello, everybody.
So we have a room full of people here. I don't know how much is picked up on the camera. We also have people online.
All righty. Looks like a big group.
Rob, are you able to share, or do I need to give you access?
Let's see.
Go down to share and add.
Yeah, if you could give me access.
Just right click on his name.
Right click on his name. Oh, there you go. Okay.
It should be a review.
Sorry.
Actually have to pull up the list of participants to do.
Okay.
Big on code. Or sorry, get out of that. Go
This
to
one?
settings.
Now,
Yeah,
you can-
on the right.
On the right.
There we go. Allow sharing.
I think just make it public.
I'll just make him a co-host.
Yeah,
They all want.
I just made you co-host. You should be good now, Rob.
Okay. Yeah, I should be able to share. All right, ready to get started?
Yeah.
All righty. Let's get going here. All right, can everybody see my screen with the the PowerPoint?
Yep.
All right, fantastic. We're going to walk through a very brief PowerPoint and tell you a little bit about who Ambassador is and what some of our goals and missions are, and a little bit about myself. I'm Rob Heller. I'm Vice President of Sales for Ambassador. Been with Ambassador for about 1.5 years. Been in course materials for about 30 years. I walked into a college bookstore when I was a student at Clemson University, and I never really left the bookstore. Just have kind of done a little bit of everything from managing stores to working in a wholesale division for MBS to actually doing marketing and presentations. So again, I've been with Ambassador for about 1.5 years, but really impressed with their technology. This is the first real ed tech company that I worked for, and kind of introduce now who Ambassador is. So we've been around for about 50 years, and the entire time I've been doing course materials. Originally started as a library content provider, and then moved into bookstores in kind of year 2, 3 when one of the libraries asked us if we could handle course materials for their students. A lot of people haven't heard of us, and that's fine. We're kind of behind the scenes, but we run about 800 campuses nationwide. A lot of them have books and tuition programs. And as I mentioned, we're an ed tech company. So we have a 100% technology team in-house. So we design some of the proprietary software you're going to see today. And that helps us a lot with transitions and onboarding, as well as answering any problems that faculty members may have. We can immediately address those based on, not only our experience, but the fact that we design some of the software as well. So what do we do? Well, we cover course materials. And back in the day when I started, really even until probably 5, 6 years ago, it was always called textbooks. But now course materials really encompasses everything else. So it's from digital books and access code to custom content. So if you're an instructor and you're writing your own book and it's not quite ready to be published yet, but you're ready for us to get it into the student's hands so you can teach, we have ways of doing that. So we can work through copyright. So if you're using 3 chapters from Campbell's Biology and you're using 2 chapters from somewhere else and the rest of it you've written yourself, we can get that custom content authorized and published and in the student's hands. We can also do anything from graduation regalia to devices. We've got, a really nice program with Apple that we're launching to get iPads in the hands of all the incoming students, things like that. So it really encompasses everything that you could need for courses. You see in the lower left, scrubs. We are the leading provider in higher education of scrubs. So we have contracts across the country with different providers. We deal with about 1,000 different providers right now, getting everything from our textbooks to our actual physical materials into the hands of students. So the course adoption process is really important to faculty members. And we've got a way to communicate with you through our adoption tool. So we call it Book At. And with Book At, it is a research tool. So if you want to potentially look at a different book to use for your course, you can do that. You can also adopt straight through the platform. So if in this case, off to the right-hand side, you see a book and it says quick add to list, that's a really, really quick way for you to add the same material you previously used. Gretchen's been nice enough to share some of the previous materials you guys have used. So our intent is to get in there and actually adopt for past semesters some of the content you've used. So when you actually get in there, it'll already be built up for you and you will be able to click and adopt books quickly. Communication tool is another one that's really good because it creates a nice record for us of when you adopt the books and goes all the way through the adoption cycle. So if you're adopting something that's 2 editions old, but that's the ISBN you have, go ahead and adopt it, and then we can communicate with you and see if you want to use a newer edition. If you want to stay with that one, how many can we find? And again, we'll create all this within the Book At adoption tool. And that's one of the features I'm going to demo, as soon as we get through the PowerPoint. As far as the process goes, it works probably like you've been doing, except Ambassador will be involved now to help vet the process. But you'll submit your adoptions to us. We'll look at availability. If there are any hard titles to find, we'll notify you if there are any changes, anything that's unusual. You'll provide any updates back to us if you want to switch books, or if you want to stay with that and understand that, this is a custom book, print on demand. It may take, instead of 3 weeks for us to get it into our warehouse, it may take more like, 6-8 weeks. So we try to notify you of any updates, especially if it's going to come close to the class start date. And then we procure all the materials in our warehouse. So we do have a dedicated inventory that's a little bit different than some of the other providers out there in online bookstores. What a dedicated inventory means is it's the same as it was on your campus. Back in the day, when you had a bookstore on campus and all the books were sitting on the shelves, well, that's kind of the way we do it in our warehouse. So we don't share your inventory with another community college or another 4-year college. We bring in your inventory for your classes and we lock that down so that your students are not running out if someone else adds 3 extra sections and all of a sudden we're short 30 books. So we want to make sure that your students have access to the materials. And there's also ways you can go in as a faculty member and see how many books are on the shelf. So it really gives you a little bit of a confidence level that, if you do need to add another section, how many books do Ambassador currently have on the shelf, or how many of my students have ordered? You're going to be able to see through our reporting all of that information. So it's a little different way of doing it than some of the others. As far as the distribution goes, the physical items that you need, well, those ship straight to the student's home, or they get shipped to the school or campus if the school or campus has that option. So if Western Nevada says, we do want to have a location on campus where students can pick up, and we can arrange that. Or if they make the decision of, it's just simple, send everybody to everything to their home, we can do that. Digital materials, there's several different ways that they can be accessed. So our hope is we're going to integrate with the LMS and going to have them straight where the students normally spend their days anyway. We also have our online bookstore portal, so anybody that's purchased from us can go into that portal at any time, and they can access their books that way, along with the Vital Source platform as well. We do kind of take a little pride in our metrics, and you can see them at the bottom of the screen, that rarely do we make mistakes in shipping our orders because, again, we're not organizing our warehouse in a way that some others may do it. We're organizing it by your class schedule. So it's easy for our employees to find the books, put it in a box, and make sure that they're the correct books. And we usually have those books in stock on the same day. When we list stuff on our website, the books that we list are actually the books that we have in stock. And anything that is ordered by 2 o'clock Eastern time, so 11 a.m. Your time, will ship the same day. And during rush, we actually extend that another 2 hours. So anything that will be ordered by 1 p.m. Pacific time will ship the same day. We'll talk a little bit about Rhoda. And again, this is one of the features that I will be demoing as well. Rhoda is our single access for all course materials, but it encompasses more than that. It really is an informational tool that faculty members can use in a way that you never imagined that you're going to be able to see your student interactions. So there's reports on there that you can tell exactly what kind of device they looked at their digital material on. Did they look at it on a phone? Did they look at it on a laptop? If they were a phone, we can even tell you whether it was an Apple or an Android. So there's a lot of interaction reports that we can provide with you, including how much time they spent in their device and in the exact course material. I'd like to say, too, that Rhoda is our not only proprietary system that we designed, but it is also award-winning. When we launched it, Campus Technology, which not just looks at bookstores, but they look at every function on a higher education campus, and they look at all of the technology that's out there. They ranked Rhoda as the #1 new product in higher education when it first came out. It's been out about 5 years now. So really proud that we created something that is special and unique to the market. One of the features we have within Rhoda is our no dupe drop functionality. And what this means is that the students are only paying for the item once. And again, I'll show you this when we go through it, but we can also create a report on this. So it really allows the college to look in there and say, wow, our students are saving money with Ambassador because Ambassador is preventing them from ordering the same item twice. This happens especially in the digital world where a student may not realize they already have access to something that could be used in multiple courses, whether it's a continuation course or not. So if a student orders something in the fall and they don't realize that they still have access to it in the spring, we're going to put a stop to that and make sure that they're not overbilled for it. And if you ever get into a situation where you're running an EA or IA program and you're putting books in tuition, then it's going to actually save the college money because the college bills it straight to the student. As far as our integrations go, because we designed Rhoda and because we maintain Rhoda, it makes our integrations seamless for us because we worked with just about every platform there is. We like to say we haven't met a platform yet that we can't integrate with. Most of them are pretty mainstream, but every once in a while we run into a homegrown system that takes us a little bit more programming time, but we get it done. And it really works around your system as far as what do you want that integration to look like? How much time is IT going to put into it from the campus perspective? And it will grow along with you. So if you do eventually move into an EA program or an IA program, we can manage all your opt-ins, opt-outs, provide all those student choice materials back to the college so they can look at the Excel form and they can continue through the business office to bill those tuitions correctly if you do ever go to that model. The models that we do have really encompass a little bit of everything. Bulk fulfillment, I do get questions on sometimes. Bulk fulfillment is when we're working with an early college or we're working with a high school program and the school wants direct billing or the district wants direct billing or we want to put everything in one box and ship it straight to the school itself so it never hits the college campus. We can do all that through our bulk fulfillment. And once you kind of wrap all these together, we call it Ambassador Flex. So here's where your students will actually spend some time. It's called the Dedicated Online Bookstore. We call it OB for short. It is branded to your school. So part of the onboarding process, we will ask you what you want the URL to look like because we don't want the ambassador word in there unless we have to put it in there. We would much rather it be a campus branded school site. So there's not going to be a whole lot of ambassador you're going to see on the site. We can do single sign-on access. The advantage of that is it puts the students in their own environment, and it's using the same credentials that they would normally log on to the student systems. It makes purchasing very easy when it's single sign-on because we will already have their information within the bookstore. So their classes will populate first, and it makes it simple for them. And we are, of course, compliant, and we know when they come in on a phone. That's really what mobile response technology means, is we know what device they're coming in on, so they don't have to spread their fingers and try to manage that. As far as our digital content goes, we do manage all of these things on the screen. Again, I'm not going to sit here and read a PowerPoint for you, but we do handle everything as far as digital content goes and anything that needs to be done with digital. And we work through Vital Source, so we become your advocate against Vital Source to make sure everything is correct. For buybacks, if students have any physical books they need to sell back, our buyback is open 24/7. They can log in there, they can enter the information. Even if they didn't buy the book from us, if they got it from Amazon or wherever, they can enter the information. It'll print off a free shipping label, and they can mail that back to us and let us know how they want their payment applied. And then once they do, we'll process that as quickly as we get the book back. So that is the very quick demo and or the very quick PowerPoint, excuse me. And I'm going to pause now and see if there are any generic questions, and then kind of move on into the demo. So any questions anybody has about anything so far?
We had a question earlier. We're talking about if you adopt a book, or however that might go, and you want to change books sometime before the semester began, how late can a faculty member make a change if they find something they feel is better suited to their course?
Yeah, outstanding question. Once we procure the inventory and start bringing it in, we would like for you to use it at least for that semester. But if you're adamant about it, we want to make sure you're teaching with the correct materials. So oftentimes we can look and say, you know what, that book that you requested, yeah, we're using it at 15 other colleges. We can take that book and apply it somewhere else. Where we get into a little bit of gray area and trouble is when it's customized. So if you're the only instructor using it, and there's no return privileges, then we would like to go with it, for that semester until we get through it. But, again, if it's McConnell Economics, McKay History of the World, Volume 1, Campbell Biology, something that's widely used, then again, we can probably handle that and apply it to another college and let you bring it in. We also get the question of, how close are we to the semester? If we're talking about a week before the semester starts and we've already started distributing it, then we're going to get into a student satisfaction issue too, because then students are they will have already purchased the wrong book. So that's probably too late once the bookstore opens.
Thank you.
That answer the question?
Yes, the original question was, what if you had OER material and you wanted to change at some point into this prior to the semester beginning? What would that look like?
Yeah. If it's OER, it's not going to be a big issue because that's free content. It's free digital content. That's not a problem.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, my answer was based more on a physical print book sitting in a warehouse. So, yeah. Thank you for the clarification.
I also wanted to point out in the presentation, you talked about managing student codes. So if you have digital code for your class so they can access course materials through, for example, it could be Lumen, it could be Pearson, or so on. Doesn't your system allow faculty to, if students forget their course ID or course,
absolutely,
they can,
and that is a great segue into what we're doing next.
Jeff.
So I just need to bring you on every call.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into Rhoda just a little bit and look at that. Can everybody see the screen?
Yep.
All righty. So welcome to the world of Rhoda. Rhoda is, of course, our proprietary system we designed, launched it about 5 years ago. One of the things I love about Rhoda is its usability because it's broken into 4 simple tiles. Student information is where all the student records are housed. And this is a good place to pause and say, not all faculty members may have access to student records. When we set this up, it is going to be on a security level. So we really look at the duties that the person has within the college, and then we set up whether you can see it, yes or no, whether you can change it, yes or no. And then we kind of guide it from there. And then that is driven by really the campus administrators. So if you're locked out of something, then you can talk to your campus administrator and they can actually grant you access. And you don't really go through Ambassador to do that. It's a campus level decision. Order management is usually open to instructors because this is where you can go in and you can see information such as, well, my student says they lost their access card. Business office is usually the only one that can see the invoices because these are the invoices we bill back to the college if there's any student financial aid or vouchers done on a weekly basis. And this is where the business office can go in there and find that information. Report favorites off to the right-hand side. This is based on the lower left-hand corner where we have tools, and this is your reporting dashboard. You don't have to have favorites. Most schools that I work with tend to put 2 or 3 up here. It's a quick little easy shortcut to the reports that you run frequently. And then Rhoda Overview is the bottom right, and that allows you to really kind of do any troubleshooting, or if you don't know what a tab may be, you can actually pull it up in the Rhoda Overview, and it'll walk you through a PowerPoint. Also, enhancement news down here. I like to bring this up. Enhancement news will tell you all of the features that we've launched recently and how they may affect you. So we're going to look at a couple of different things within here. So the first one we are going to do is we're going to answer that question of, can you see an access code? So the example I always like to use is, an instructor is assigned some kind of project that needs access code. And the student comes wandering in during office hours and says, I know it's due later this afternoon, but you know what? I can't find my code anywhere. I'm going to have to contact the bookstore. I'm going to have to do all this. That's not the way it works for us. The student has access to their bookstore anytime they want to. But also the instructor can have access through this order management little back door that we created called the Student My Account. Let me log back in here. It timed out on me. All right, so in this case, if you know the student's ID, and you can have them type it in, and you can just kind of look. So we're going to go. So now I can see everything that student has ordered. And you can see in the lower right-hand side, it says, Rob, you're now logged in as Mark Kinesko. So I'm looking at Mark Kinesko's order history in the bookstore. And I can go to access codes. And I can see that they returned 1, but they ordered 2 of them. And this big giant I over here, I can pull up their access code that they were originally emailed. It says, Dear Mark Kinesko, here's your access code. If I'm an instructor, I can then print this off in my office and hand it to the student. Or I can just resend the email. And then I can send it to any email address they want. So if they want it to their personal email, their school email, all I have to do is type in their email address, hit resend email, and then it will go directly to them. Doesn't matter what company we're working with. If it's an access code that's been issued, it will be in here. We can also view any of their ebooks. So if they have any ebooks, we can look at that. We can access their ebooks. We can go and look at any book buybacks they've done. And again, we can look at order history. For a student, as far as the shipping goes, and again, this is a demo site I'm working on. But if they shipped it via UPS or if they shipped it to the United States Postal Service, there will be a little truck symbol here. They can click on that, and that will take them directly to the UPS site for tracking. So that does that for physical materials. So I will show you a couple of little tricks here in Rhoda. One of the nice things is this reporting dashboard. We can go in and we can look at what we have 18, what we call basic reports, standard reports, and you'll find the reports that you want to work within. And some of these reports may be locked down for faculty, but most of them should be open. Some of the reports I like to use are the retention report for current students without orders. some of the other ones I like to use are the product sales report. So I'll pull that one up first here and just show you what it looks like. We've got a nice little handy graph here that is showing all the items by what kind of items they were sold. So we're right now early in the semester. We've sold 18 electronic books. We've sold 64 new print textbooks. And I can look at every single little category, 12 access codes. But maybe I don't want it by the actual quantities. Well, I can come over here and I can play with it a little bit. I can say, let me look at the data in the barcode. Let me look at the data a different way. Set it back up to the pie chart because that's the prettiest one. I can look at it by what publishers are we using. I can look at it by individual courses, which courses are selling through books. I can look at it from the student sell price perspective. We've sold now 872 new textbooks compared to 250 basically electronic books. So it's a really nice little tool. We can also change the formats. So if I wanted to change, say, the legend over here, and I want to change the spacing between them, I can do that. I can change the marker sizes. You say, well, that's great. Why would you do that? Well, the nice thing is you can download this. So all I have to do is click the little download button, and now I have an image file. I can open the file, and I can drop this into a report. So if I have a dean's level meeting or cabinet level meeting or anything else that I want, it's a really nice way to assemble reports to see what's going on in the online bookstore. All the raw data is also contained below, and all that's downloadable as well. So I mentioned a minute ago about the report without orders. And this is one, if I was a dean, I was a faculty member, I would be in this report. It's current students who have not ordered from the online bookstore. So it's going to start off when we open the online bookstore on day number 1, your entire student body will be in here. You can sort this any way you want to. So if we don't want student IDs coming on this report, we can go over to the column feature and we can just uncheck student IDs. If we want the school to actually appear, so if you're working with high schools and you want the individual high schools to appear, we can check that. And all of a sudden, we'll have all that information as well. So I'll go back to the original defaults. You can also save these reports. If you wanted to name this report Rob's report and save it, then next time you access it, you could get the default report, or you can go ahead and get in your report. So if you add columns, shift them around, all of that is great information for you to have. Here's how I would use the report if I'm teaching a class or teaching a department. I would go to the program and I would just raise it up here. And now you can look, all of these are grouped. So if I just want to see, okay, let me look at my nursing students who have not ordered books from the bookstore. I can expand that, and now I have all the information about what campus they're on, the semester they're in, their name, their phone number. If they're on student hold, what student hold means is their financial aid open? And I even have their balances. And you see the tab courses. This is a demo, so we don't have all the courses built in. But if we did, we would see all of the courses for these students that they're taking when they're applied to the nursing program. So again, it'll start off with all of your students. Then you can continue to drill down as you need to. You can also filter this. So if you have a student and you say, you know what, I know their first name, I'm not quite sure about their last name, or vice versa, and you got their last name is Carter. You can just punch in their Carter, and now look, all of a sudden you've got Darius Carter and Delana Carter. So it'll allow you to really filter down on what you need to do and what you need to see. So valuable report, easy to work with. And all of our reports in here can be downloaded. All you do is right click and you can see export, and we can just put it in a standard export Excel file. And now you can see that I'll click on it and there's my Excel file. I can enable an editing, save it to my desktop, save it to a folder, whatever I want to do with it. I can manage all that data within the system. So all of our reports are exportable. And again, that's just a kind of a quick overview of what Rhoda looks like and what Rhoda will do. So any questions on Rhoda?
Yes, we have a question here.
Okay.
The admin access, will the
Yes.
admin, will the divisions have access to be able to see all the instructors' information? Or the student?
As far as who's teaching the class and things like that?
Like if they, what their book is, if they put it in, do we need to have that information anymore?
For helping
Yes,
track.
yeah, they'll be able to see all of that, and that again, it's nice that you guys keep segueing into the right things here. That is all in the adoption tool, and that is the next thing we're going to look at. So,
before we go there, I had a question back on the Rhoda. Is there any questions on Rhoda before we go?
Well, I was gonna ask, you were talking about the reports, so if we go down to the tools, again, with access, does everybody have access to that, or is that gonna be identified, in the beginning?
yeah, within tools, we will have access as needed to the reports. And again, that'll be a campus level decision, not an ambassador decision. So if you go to your campus administrators and say, hey, I would really like to see this report and here's why, then that'll be their decision whether they open that up. Again, you know, it's we provide the information and then the campus decides how it's distributed.
And I believe that's gonna be the same for what Cassandra's question was.
Yeah.
Just to clarify.
And on the
yeah, and again, you know, we will train on all this, and you know, I can sit here and pull up all these book reports of, you know, what all of these things do. They're really cool, really expansive. But you know, everything from just the regular semester book list, if you wanted to see it, you know, it's going to be on here of everything that is adopted. So, you know, anytime that you wanted to see the book list, you know, again, it's all available on here.
What's the refresh rate or frequency of updating the information within Rhoda?
So the sales information is real time. So as soon as a student places an order, it will automatically populate in Rhoda.
How about students being added to classes as the semester is getting ready to start, or maybe
that's gonna be on whatever cycle we set up with IT for the integration.
Okay.
A lot of places use that as overnight. Some will do it hourly. I think the quickest it can be is like 15 to 20 minutes. But there are workarounds on that as well.
We typically do overnight because it bogs down our system.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and that's again, that usually it clicks at like 2 to 3 in the morning is when most schools set it up. But again, we can override that as well. Again, this is a business office application, but I can go in and pull up any student anytime I want to. And once I pull up that student, I have access to their information, their graduation, the grouping they're in, things like that. I can immediately put that student on hold, financial hold, or just regular student hold. Student hold, they're not going to be able to order books. Financial hold, they can't use a financial voucher. I can even change any of their updated spending limits or any of their courses. I can do that anytime I want to if I have access. And again, this is usually a business office level. But, you know, it's nice that if a student has a situation where they come in and they have a hardship. So they say, you know what, I got in a car accident yesterday. I didn't get it ordered by the time that my Pell Grant expired. Can you give me an extra day? If the campus wanted to do that, they could, and they do not have to contact Ambassador. All they have to do is go to this update spending limit, and they could put in a different date. Like I've got this guy expiring on the 13th. If they wanted to change it to the 16th, bam, it's done. It's updated. So he could go in immediately and now order.
Thank
So,
you.
yeah, it's pretty nice that you don't have to reach out to your vendor to do this. That it's all controlled at the campus level. Any other Rhoda questions? Okay, I'm going to jump on over to the book adoption tool. And this is really how you'll communicate with Ambassador, how you'll adopt your books, how you can do some research. And again, I'm not doing a training session, just doing a little overview here, and then going to answer some questions on it. Can everybody see the book at Ambassador adoption screen?
Can you make it a little bigger, please?
Yes. All right, is that helpful?
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. All right, so when faculty first log in, you're only going to see the courses that you're working in. So I'm going to just go down the list here because a lot of these are already adopted. I'm just going to choose one here. So when the faculty log in, this is going to be the faculty's view. So if you're teaching 3 courses, you'll see the 3 courses across here. If you're teaching multiple courses, or if you're the dean or you're the admin for the department, then you may see 20 courses here. If you're over the entire system, you may see them all. So you just work through it. In this case, we've got multiple courses on here. We're looking at the 533 course here. So I'm just going to randomly select one of these and go next. And it's going to give you 3 choices. Yes, I need to add books, OERs, materials, or supplies. You can do all of that within this adoption tool. So if you have calculators or chemistry goggles, you can do that on this adoption platform. You can tell us, I don't need any books for this. This is an internship class, or this is an applied class where we're going to do all of everything in the lab, and I don't really need any materials. It's good for us to know that so we can check you off the list. And also when a student logs into the online bookstore, they won't have questions because it'll say no text required for this class. And if we have anything wrong on the feed, you can tell us that this section's not offered, and that just kind of checks it off the list for us. So I'm going to go into the first option, which was I'm going to adopt materials, supplies, everything else. And you have really 3 choices across the top. You can copy from another adoption, and this is where most of our instructors will do their adopting. And it will tell you the last time the course is used. And all you need to do is add this to a quick list. Once you add it to the quick list, it's going to give you the ISBN, and it's going to ask you, is it required or optional? It's going to say, is it okay to use the newer edition? You don't have to answer either one of these questions, but if it is okay, then we flag it to the students and let them know. It also triggers for us to know that we can do some substitution. Again, we won't do that without letting you know, but it gives us a little heads up. Again, you don't have to answer either of these. I'm going to hit apply. It's going to say that this is actually available for inclusive access. What this is books and tuition. If the school does not want this option yet, we do not have to show any of this. And we'll just say that, it's not eligible. You won't see this. But if you run to a book adoption program where you can put books in with tuition, then it's called inclusive access. And it is showing that, it is a benefit to the student. The student would be automatically enrolled in this, and they would need to opt out. And we do handle that process on the online bookstore. So in this case, we're going to say we're not interested. We're not going to go there. And at that point, we can either review it and remove it. So in this case, I'm going to review it and submit it. It's going to ask us, what are the estimated enrollment for students right now? You can put, say, 30. If you wanted to put any note for the bookstore, this is where you do it. And we can then hit submit, and that would submit your adoption. So, pretty simple process. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and remove this one because I'm going to show you something else here. Back here. Come on. It doesn't really matter which one I chose. You can also add new materials. So if you know the ISBN of the book that you want to use, so you can just type that in. And you can search for it, and it's going to look through all of the books that are in print, plus a couple of old editions. And again, you can go through it the same way that you have. You can add it to your quick list. If you want to filter anything, you can filter things as well. You can look at the details. So if I wanted to pull up the details of this book, I can look at, see if there are any accessibilities for this book. I can look at this book in Google or Amazon. I can compare it to similar titles. I can look at any pricing information. I can look at alternative options. So these are very, very similar books to it, but they're slightly different. They could be different editions. You can also see whether the book is, available digitally or print, whatever. It's all here for you to look to adopt that book. So I'm going to click this one out and I'm going to find a different way because I don't know the ISBN. So I'm going to look for, and I'm just going to type the same title here. Oops, I can spell today. Addiction counseling. And I'm asking it to look for all the books on addiction counseling. So all I did was a keyword search here. And now all the titles coming up with keyword searches of addictions and counseling come up. You can see there's 10 pages. We reduce it to about 9, 10, 12 per page. You can look at details of any of these other books. If you wanted to apply a filter of only OER, you can click that. I'm not sure there's any OERs with addiction counseling. Looks like there are. So if you had any OERs, you could look up OERs as well for addiction counseling. You could also add anything manually. So if you're using a course pack that you created, whether it's just some lab work and a syllabus, you can click on the course pack, and all we ask for is what is the title of the course pack or a brief description. So you could put, I created this myself, lab exercises, add course pack, and then that will allow us to get back in touch with you and say, okay, do you have a PDF of that material? What format is it in? Is there any copyright clearance? That's adding a course pack. Adding a book, adding a supply. So again, if you had a supply, particularly in community colleges, we see this. So if you wanted to type out a description, where it came from, if you had a link to the URL, so if it came from, say, Western Biological Supply Company, you can type in the URL here, and then that allows us to know where to find it. And then again, if there's any OER that you wanted to add, we could do some of the research. If you couldn't find it yourself, you can communicate with us this way, and we can find the book. So that's overall basically how you adopt the books. And let me go back and I will show you how to communicate within the book. So let me just go to some of these other courses. I think we've got some notes in here. Okay, so all I did was click on the course and it pulled up what is adopted. And it has different messages up here about what's going on with the book. So if I click that, it will come down here and it'll give us a whole little listing of all the communications that have happened with that book. If you wanted to then add more materials, you could add more materials. If you want to copy from another adoption, you could copy from another adoption. Another feature on here is the watched video. So if you had any questions about how to adopt course materials, you can actually watch the video. And that is, I think it's about a 4.5-minute video that walks you through how to adopt the books, pretty much just kind of like I just walked through for you. Off to the left-hand side here, there are things that really the liaison will be more involved with. If we need to send any emails, if we have any sections to approve, you can see the 3 dots. That really is our approval cycle. So we have 275 of them that are incomplete. That means that no records are on file. 25 of them are submitted. That means that they have been submitted to Ambassador, and we are working through those. And then if they need to be reviewed again before they're approved, and then we have how many are approved. So again, we can dive down into different departments. We can dive down into how many courses have no text required. We can also look to see if there's, how many notes are in here, things like that. So all of that is, available kind of through this adoption portal. So any questions on the adoption portal?
I have a question in general.
Yes.
If we list a book as recommended, not required, does it automatically put it in the student's shopping cart?
No, ma'am. Nothing is automatically put into the student shopping cart. The student does that themselves. So, nothing is automatically in there. As a matter of fact, let me run through that really quick so you can see the student buying experience here.
With another book, the student would choose the course and it would automatically populate all the materials for that course, including
correct. Yep. Let me show you how it does that. So this is the online bookstore, and I'm logged in for Riley's stack here. So Riley ordered something earlier today. I'm going to go in for a new order. And you can see that it's pre-populated for the courses that Riley's involved in, but she can also search for any other courses. So if she's considering another course that's during drop add, she can add that and see how much her course materials are. And she's guided through the top by this pathway. So the first one is to choose her materials. So if we move down to the continue button here, we can see that Riley has an authorized limit of $178 remaining, and it expires tomorrow. It has all her courses down here. Now, I said earlier that if a student already had a book, it would prevent them from ordering it. We can cut this off if you don't want it, but most schools do want this feature. Riley has a college algebra book, an electronic book. If she puts add to the cart, it's going to automatically say, this is a duplicate purchase. You already have this electronic book. So that's the only time it's going to prevent a student. And again, we can turn off that feature, but it is pretty helpful and save students a good bit of money if they do that. I'm just going to randomly put a book in here, but we do have a used book marketplace. Again, this can be cut on or off, but it does allow students, even with financial aid, to shop the internet. So they could potentially see considerable savings here if they find a used book out on the internet that is less. That one was $88.56, which is going to be less than the new book. But I'm just going to add it in, and we're going to proceed so you can see the optional items. And you can see the next tab here is optional. So let's say you adopt two books. One is a chemistry textbook, and the other is a solution manual or a study guide for the chemistry class. It's going to put the optional book under the chemistry course, and students can select it, but it will obviously be not required for the course.
Thank you.
Yeah, so they have to choose it if they want to buy it.
Thank you.
Yep. Yes, ma'am. And then it proceeds on here just like any other online site would do. You just go through the shipping screen and then your information, and then your payment screen as well. And students can do split payments with us. So in this case, Riley has $178. If she was to come in here and say, I don't want to do it all on my financial aid.
Hey, Rob.
She can look and say, you know what, I want to spend $50 of financial aid. It will automatically ask for a credit card for the balance of whatever she didn't want to do. So that's kind of how students will see the online bookstore. Any other questions?
Anyone?
If faculty use OERs, it's easier for students if they enter it through you guys so that the students can go one spot to view all of the materials, correct?
Correct. We recommend that really any course materials that you can, we at least list them on our site so that they can see them. But your point with OERs is really well taken, Gretchen, because if they use OERs, we want them to be able the instructors to be able to see the activity on the reports in Rhoda too. So if you use OERs, all of those reports on Rhoda that have to do with course interactions will be in effect there. So yes, OERs really should go through the bookstore to be a one-stop shop for students. And the benefit to the instructors is they can then see if those materials are being used.
And then I know we put together lab kits for some of our classes that are labs taught online, essentially. So we mail students lab kits. And I think the science faculty and our lab coordinator probably need to set up a special call with you, but we were just wondering cost of what, and if you were able to procure all the materials that we actually put together for those kits. But I think that probably is a different call, but I just wanted to put that out.
It's probably a different call. We'll get our procurement team on with that one.
Okay.
Because we do have a team that all they do is just kits.
Okay.
So we do have national contracts. We sometimes get volume pricing, not all the time. It depends on where it is. But if we can take advantage of our volume pricing, it usually works out well. If you have a local vendor that you'd like us to set up an account with, we can do that as well. It really depends on what we can do for you and what you want us to do. Same thing with scrubs. If you want us to embroider the scrubs and do all that, we can present you with some pricing options and say, hey, this is what Cherokee can do. This is what Landau can do. And, really present some options for the faculty so that students will, get the best deal.
Perfect. Thank you.
Welcome.
Any other questions, anyone? I think we're good here. I appreciate your time and coming in to show us what's going on. Do you plan to have any more sessions like this for faculty?
Yeah, I would be glad to have sessions like this, and I've told Gretchen as well. If you guys need me to come out and do anything at the beginning of fall semester or during the summer or anything else like that, as long as I have enough notice, I'd be glad to come to campus, and I'd be glad to jump on a Zoom anytime I can. Apologize for being a little bit tardy this morning as we worked out some technical issues, but appreciate everybody joining today, and any way I can help, I'd be glad to.
Thank you, Rob. Yeah, and we'll do actual training sessions once we get everybody access to your platforms and all that. We'll set up some Zoom sessions with you too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. There's gonna be training sessions. We've got videos as well. So, we're in this with you. We want everybody to be successful and, again, take advantage of the tools that have been built.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thanks everybody. I appreciate it. And everybody have a good afternoon.
You too. Thank you, Rob.
Thanks.
I know we're at time.